On opening the door, I was confronted by the biggest shock of my life. Hi, my name is Charlotte, and I'm from Chicago. Ever wondered what it's like to be married to a selfish bastard who would do anything for their own personal gain? If yes, then brace yourself to listen to my story. I grew up in Dallas. Growing up, I was the prettiest girl in class. Literally every guy had a crush on me. It was fun to get all the attention, but I was more focused on becoming married. My dad was the CEO of a big tech firm in Dallas, and I was inspired by him to study hard to get into a big tech university to major in tech. Because of his job, my dad was rich. We lived in a big mansion, and my dad drove expensive cars. My dad still wanted me to attend public school despite of how rich we were, just so I couldn't become a spoiled rich brat, no offense. I was also the lead cheerleader for the football team, and of course, I was voted prom queen in high school. That was just a summary of my early life. Sorry if I got you envious and all that. After completing high school with a GPA of 4, I applied to UC Berkeley and got accepted. In campus, I had a crush on a football quarterback called Jaylen. Wait,
Hold up.
not that
Wait a
Jaylen,
minute.
come on.
Something
You're
ain't
messing up my story. You can't get anything right, you stupid editor. Okay, now this is Jaylen. Just look at him. Isn't he charming? Jaylen also majored in tech whilst playing football. We fell in love from early on in campus and became a thing. Jaylen would take me on romantic dates and buy me nice gifts. We would go to the movies together, and I was his biggest fan in all his football games. And of course, he was my study partner since we both majored in tech. Jaylen was quickly becoming a top prospect to play football professionally considering how good he was. He was already being scouted by top football teams in the country. Unfortunately, tragedy struck in one game. Jaylen was concussed in a hard collision with an opponent. The injury left him in hospital for 2 weeks in a coma. He also fractured a rib in the collision. When he was discharged, he decided to give priority to his studies, and he quickly lost interest in football. After some time, he completely abandoned football to dive completely into his studies. After completing our senior year of college, we both graduated with honors in tech. It was probably one of the best days of my life. 1 week later, Jaylen proposed to me, and I said yes. We got married in my hometown of Dallas and went for our honeymoon to Cancun in Mexico. We stayed at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel throughout our honeymoon. Our 2-week honeymoon ended, and we moved to Chicago into a nice apartment to start life. We started work at a reputable tech firm in the city. We both started with junior positions in the company, but we worked in different departments. We would leave for work together, go for lunch together, and since we finished work at the same time, we would also go back home together. In short, we spent a large part of the day together. I enjoyed every moment that I spent with Jaylen. On Fridays, we would have a date night after work. This was the life I always dreamt of. On our 1-year anniversary, Jaylen bought me a $20,000 necklace from his own salary. He promised that he would never leave me and that he loved me more than anything. Everything was going well for us. In fact, we had started thinking about having a child. However, I soon began to see changes in Jaylen's behavior, and I was concerned. Jaylen began to care more about work every passing day, casting me away into the shadows. I had always been insecure about this trait he possessed. See, Jaylen was very ambitious, but not in a good way. In short, he was willing to do anything to get whatever he wanted. That's the reason he was so good at football. He was obsessed with becoming the best, and he would do anything, and I mean anything, just to get what he wanted. In college, as a freshman, when he wasn't getting game time, He did something that showed just how cruel he could become just to get what he wanted. The starting quarterback was a senior called Tristan. Tristan got most of the game time, just because he had more experience. During a practice session, Jaylen purposely injured him, making him tear his Achilles tendon. Ooh! That injury took him out for 5 months, and by the time he came back, Jaylen had established himself as a starter. Even though Jaylen said it was an accident, I knew that he somewhat had his own ill intent. And as I looked at Jaylen's eyes, I could see the same look. Something was definitely going on in his mind, and my gut told me that it wasn't good. Meet Sam, the CEO of our company. The corporate world is an unfair place. If you want to get ahead, you have to dance to the music of those at the top. Basically, you either play by their rules or be related to them, or have connections with them in any way. Sam was a classic opportunist. It wasn't a surprise that only women got promotions at the workplace. Not because their credentials were the most worthy, but just because they had something that men don't. Just hope you are following. When I noticed that Jaylen was working for a promotion, I knew that our relationship was about to be tested. I realized that he would be willing to throw away our love just to get the position. Just to clarify, Jaylen is not gay. What I mean is that he would be willing to give me away to the boss just so he could get on his good side. I was hoping that this wasn't the case, but it seems I was completely wrong. On a fateful Friday morning, I was finishing up on the preparations for a presentation that I was supposed to make in the conference room that day. Jaylen was also there during the presentation, and he was seated next to guess who? You guessed right, Sam. After finishing the presentation, they both approached me, and Sam handed me an invitation to his party that he would hold the next day, Saturday. Throughout the day, I was puzzled trying to figure out what this was all about, but it wasn't long before I knew exactly what it was all about. As custom, Friday was date night for me and Jaylen. We headed to a nice restaurant, and that night, Jaylen spent much more than what he normally would. When I asked about where all the money came from, he told me that Sam had given him $15,000. He added that Sam was willing to make him chief information officer of the firm on one condition.
Please do it for us, baby. We'll make upwards of $1 million a year if you do it,
he said. So that's what the party was all about. It was all a facade just to make the boss happy. Jaylen asked me to have affairs with the boss so that he could get the promotion. As naive as I was, I thought about the money and realized that it was really life-changing. I thought about attending the party, though I didn't make my thoughts clear to Jaylen. I pretended to be mad and I walked away. I went home and left him in the restaurant. About an hour later, Jaylen arrived home and came to me in the bedroom.
It's okay, baby. That was so selfish of me. I don't know what I was thinking. Please forgive me,
Jaylen said. He came to me, and we spent the night together. In the morning when we woke up, he asked me again whether I was okay and whether my decision was final, but I had spent all night thinking about it and decided that the offer was just too good. I couldn't pass on it. Just think about it, $1 million. Tell me in the comments what you would have done if you were in my shoes. I told him that I would attend the party and I was ready to take the offer. And so the whole day, we got ready for the party. We went shopping for a dress for the party. We showed up to his mansion in the evening to attend the party. His mansion was so big, and there was a fleet of luxury vehicles all around the yard. The party began shortly after, and it was already planned that I had to have time alone with Sam so he could make his move. The time came for Sam to approach me and ask me whether I would become his mistress in exchange of all he promised. Before he came to me, I was nervous and was sweating, but Jaylen calmed me down and told me that it was for us. And right now, looking back at it, I can't believe how foolish I was. When Sam approached me, he seduced me to become his mistress. I took his hand and gave him a peck on his cheek. I told him that there was nothing to think about and that I was ready to do it. And so it was sealed. I had succumbed to their demands and I became his mistress. The next week on Monday morning, Jaylen was given the promotion. He was also given a check of $100,000 just to get started. I was doing this for the both of us and I did it hoping to make our love stronger. And for some time, it seemed that everything was going well. I would occasionally spend nights with Sam in hotels because it was the price I had to pay for the promotion Jaylen received. I was hoping that the affairs would eventually come to an end after a while so that Jaylen and I could get back together and continue with our life as smooth as it was. However, as time went on, I noticed that Jaylen was becoming cold towards me. When I asked him to spend time together, he would brush it off saying he was too tired to spend time with me. Sometimes, he would come home late at night or not come home at all, saying that since he got the promotion, he has become much busier that he had to do night shifts. Something was fishy. I knew he might have been making excuses, but why? Why would he make excuses about being too busy and become so cold towards me? Was he hiding something from me? One morning after spending a night with Sam, I was disgusted by myself. I looked at the mirror and realized that whatever I was doing was not right. I decided to end things with Sam. He threatened to fire me if I did so, but I didn't care about it so much. I could still go work for my father in his tech firm. I dressed up and called an Uber to go back to the apartment. I was tired of everything that had happened till then, and I decided to go home and wait for Jaylen to come back home in the evening so I could tell him about it. I arrived at the apartment complex and walked to the door. On opening the door, I was confronted by the biggest shock of my life. I opened the door to see Jaylen with another woman seated on the couch.
Baby, you're back already.
He said, "What the heck is going on here?" I shouted. I realized that Jaylen was cheating on me with other women on our bed. And just to prove what a bastard he is, he said that it was only right that he too had affairs with other women because I was having affairs with Sam. That was the most hypocritical thing to say. So, he just tricked me into having affairs with Sam? He didn't really love me. He was just using me. I was blinded by love and was just doing it because I thought that it would help strengthen our marriage. He confessed that he had been cheating on me with several women for a long time. I was fed up and decided to end things with him then and there. I filed for a divorce, and even though I took half his possession, the scar that he left me with cannot be healed. I know his life will keep on thriving because of his senior position in the company. As for me, I decided to go back and work at my father's company. I felt so stupid for falling for Jaylen's tricks just because I loved him. I should have been much wiser and even ended things with him when he brought up the idea of me having to have affairs with our boss just so he could climb the corporate ladder. At the end of the day, I definitely learned my lesson, and now my only focus is on getting my life back together and getting back to my feet. I'm hoping you enjoyed my story and that you learned something from it. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates of a new upload. Help us reach 1,000 subs. You can also check out our playlist. I know you thought my story was crazy, but what if I told you that a lady was haunted by a spirit husband? You definitely want to hear about that, so click this video right here to listen to her story. Anyway, thanks for watching.